Excellent. Our first speaker today is Diane Greenlee, and she is working out of her Dynamic Leadership Evaluation and Feedback Project. You may remember she delivered this speech a couple weeks ago, I think it was, and her project was to take the feedback from the evaluations and redo the speech with your feedback. So here is Diane Greenlee with Like What You Like. Diane Greenlee, Like What You Like.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Hello, fellow Toastmasters. Is there anything in your life that you enjoy that you're embarrassed to tell people about? I don't necessarily mean guilty pleasures, but things that you think a grown-up isn't supposed to be excited about. I used to be embarrassed to tell people that I like Japanese animated TV shows and movies, more popularly known as anime. I don't tell many people that I buy the new Pokemon games every year or that I was downright obsessed with Animal Crossing during the pandemic. Side note, if you ever want to tour my island, assuming you have any idea what I'm talking about, let me know. The truth is, we all have these things that we're embarrassed to tell people about because we think we're not supposed to like those things. I think it's perfectly okay to be conscious of who you share your joys with, but I also think we unlock another level of happiness when we accept ourselves for liking the things that we like. That's why I'm going to tell you about my love of anime and how good it feels to lean into the joy that it brings me, regardless of what anyone thinks. I first discovered my love of anime when I was a child. I grew up in the 90s, and the 90s were a huge shift in marketing and entertainment geared towards children. Think about how many animated movies flooded the movie theaters. Disney, Nickelodeon, and Cartoon Network all started competing for children's attention. Cartoons were no longer just being shown on Saturday mornings, and video game technology and culture exploded. I personally fell in love with anime like Pokemon, Sailor Moon, and what would later become my absolute favorite, Studio Ghibli. In the mid-80s, 3 individuals in Japan formed a private animation studio that they called Studio Ghibli. This is where they began creating animated films using hand-drawn techniques that employed water and acrylic paint that combined to create a cozy European art style with a lot of nature in the scenes. Their movies have won numerous awards globally and have been dubbed in multiple languages. Many of their movies have also had the characters voiced by famous actors such as Liam Neeson, Christian Bale, and Kirsten Dunst. The movies were very popular when they first came out, but they've been having a bit of a resurgence the last couple of years. Merchandise is being sold at stores like Hot Topic, Box Lunch, Amazon, and Etsy. You may even recognize the character on my shirt. The truth is, though, I only knew about one of the movies growing up, so it wasn't until I became an adult that I really went all in to the Studio Ghibli universe. It's hard to say exactly what it was about that first movie that I saw that stuck with me. My first introduction to Studio Ghibli was the movie Kiki's Delivery Service, a movie about a young witch that must go off to a new town on her own for a year and train herself how to be a witch. She sets up a flying delivery service and inadvertently goes on a journey of self-discovery. I think what stands out about that movie are things that I've found common in a lot of the movies that I've seen from this studio. The soundtrack is cozy, the animation is full of bright, soothing colors and nature scenes. The surface level story is innocent, and there are deeper themes that anyone can take and apply to their own lives. All of this combines to create a cozy nostalgia, and I often find myself going back to some of the more innocent movies when I'm having a hard day and putting on the movie soundtracks when I'm working. It's also been a great bonding opportunity with my daughter because she, like me, finds a lot of comfort and joy in one of the movies. Unfortunately, I haven't completely converted her. However, if I'm really going to walk the walk, I should just let her enjoy the things that bring her happiness. In my second to last speech, I talked about happiness and ways to increase your happiness baseline. I believe that one of the best things that you can do in service of that is to let yourself like the things that you like, not the things you think you're supposed to like, or pretending you don't like certain things at all. Don't kill your own joy just because you're afraid of what people might think of you. I've had plenty of people roll their eyes or laugh at me for things that I find joy in. I shared with you that I like anime, but I also love plenty of other things that people might find silly. I love to play video games like Pokemon and Mario Party. I love 90s pop music and have been known to belt out every word to Spice Girls and Backstreet Boys in the car. I love romantic comedies, whether in books or movies. And I also love Harry Potter so much that when the books were first being released, my mom would stand in line at midnight on the night of each book's release, and I would binge those books in 3 days. I'm also not exaggerating when I say that I've seen the movies over 24 times. All of these things bring me joy, so why should I pretend that they don't? I once read that a way to show yourself more acceptance and love is to pretend that when you're talking to yourself, you're talking to the child version of yourself. I would not tell 8-year-old Diane that she's silly or immature for enjoying the things that she enjoys. If she were sitting next to me, I would lift her up and cheer her on. When we accept ourselves for liking what we like, I think we unlock a level of happiness that we wouldn't be able to attain otherwise. I know I personally have found so much more joy in my life because I've come to terms and accepted things that I enjoy. I think maybe more importantly, when I'm having a hard day, I can seek those out and make more time for them without any shame or guilt attached to it. What secret joys are you holding back? And what do you plan to do about it? Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Great.